Hi, Ellen.
Hello, hello, hello. So do we have any information from Walter?
Yeah,
Good.
yeah,
Did
it
he
was a written one. It's $50,000.
Okay.
And I'm just not sure if the lighting is extra or included, but I emailed everything out.
Oh, okay. Did
And
you send it to me here at the house?
probably
'Cause I
not,
haven't-
I'll do that now.
Okay, because I haven't seen it. Okay. I hope if I go on internet, if I go on email, I'm not going to lose you.
No, you probably won't.
No, we'll see, won't we? Okay, I'm going to have to go bye-bye then in order to. Hi, Tim. You're muted. Nope, still muted. Okay, I'm gonna go look and see. I'm gonna just go bye-bye temporarily.
So that's Ellen,
Yeah,
DRLNM, right?
yes, at AOL.
Okay.
I should be unmuted.
Yeah, you are. I can hear you.
Okay.
Okay, now I've got to attempt to. Oh dear, I'm really kind of worried that I'm gonna lose everybody. Okay, you know what? I'm not even gonna try this. I think I'm just going to. Oh dear, what did I just do? Wait a minute. You know what? I'm gonna go off and get it, and then I'll come back on. It's easier that way.
All right.
Oh, I can still hear you. Maybe I can still do this. Let's see.
Okay, I sent the photos, but before I sent the photos, I sent,
Yeah, I got the photos. I copied them this today at the office.
so where,
How old is that car? Do we know? Okay, full view passenger. Dash. No, there are the photos, which I already have. But I
okay,
don't
so
see.
here's everything else.
Oh, okay. Oh, I think AJ is looking for it. He says time. I have 5:30 in my calendar, and Bob Groves is saying 5:30.
And I told him 6 and nobody wants to believe me.
Yeah, well, I saw it posted at 6, but okay.
They did have both, but everybody kept changing it.
Yeah, I know. Okay, oh, there it is. Okay, let's see. Oh, elementary school, we get something from them too.
Well, it's just
Good.
their updated calendar.
Oh, no money or anything. I mean, what they want or anything. Let me see. Come on. Oh, it's coming. Slow. Oh dear, come on.
Tim, are you a computer whiz now?
Hardly.
How-
I did think it was at 5:30 and I tried to sign on and of course it just said to wait for the host to let me in. So
Sorry about that. It did, I should have called you. It was,
I'm not getting.
Zoom thing did say 5:30, but the agenda started at 6 and I couldn't change the Zoom thing because of,
yeah,
they lock us in.
yeah, I saw the Zoom said 6 o'clock. So I said, well, I'll hang around for a while. It'll probably work.
Okay, well, I'm gonna mute for a few minutes while you guys look at stuff. At 6 o'clock we should have a couple more people soon.
Okay, great. Oh, okay. And then what's this? Dump truck. And let me print out. Okay. Yeah, that's And see what this elementary school is. Can I get that up here? Mm. Mm. Wow. Okay. Well, I'm not getting anything from the school to put on here. What is this? I can't get that. That is not coming in. Okay. Okay, that is not coming in. Here. Now, can I get into? No. Okay, there's the Zoom. Join a meeting. Okay, it looks like I'm going to have to get back into it again. Now, cancel. Cancel. Okay, what's going on here? Get totally out of it. Okay. Yeah, I think everything. At least I've got all of Tim's stuff. Yeah. Whoa, I can't believe the Western Star cost.
Yeah, everything's way up.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
No, that's no surprise. So tell me, how many hours did you guys work on this with the storm?
We were here Saturday about 14 and a half, 15, and then Sunday morning to finish up, we were there at 6 and we got out. Well, a couple of us got out at 11 and the other guys got out at 12. So
Oh my God.
it's a long
This-
time to spend for just
Yeah.
4 inches of snow, you know?
Was it only 4? I had no idea whether it was 4 or 6 or what.
That's what I measured on the pickup that never moved the whole storm, but there was a lot of wind too, so
Mhm.
Yeah, the wind was
it could
bad.
have been a little more. I don't
Yep.
know.
Yeah, the wind was what did. Hey, could have been worse. It could have had 31.
Oh man, I can't imagine. We'd still be out there.
Yeah, everybody would. Everybody still is, from what I'm hearing.
What was it? Sharon, Mass.
Sharon was the
We got
high.
30 inches or something like that.
Yeah, just over. Between 30 and 30. Well, no, maybe they hit 31 and somebody else said 30.9.
Yeah,
Oy.
that's something. Yeah.
That's awful. It's what it is. Not just something. It's awful.
Yeah. Yeah. I think in the years I've been here, I've seen 2 foot snow and maybe a little more, but 2 feet's the biggest that I remember. But we got a 2 foot storm, and then we got a week later, we got another 2 foot storm.
I remember that. That was
Oh,
was that the
man.
one back about 5 years ago?
Oh, no,
Well,
it was more than
no.
that. It
Okay.
was, oh, I don't, maybe I started in 99. It was probably 7 years, maybe 6, 7 years after I started.
Oh, okay.
It was, oh boy, that
Well,
was
you know,
a lot of
of
fun.
course, you remember the year we had 126 inches combined.
Yeah,
Just kept coming and coming and coming.
yeah,
That
yeah.
was awful.
Yeah, I can tell when I've got a great big plow that I put on the front of the loader to push snowbanks back.
Mhm.
And when
Yeah.
I have to get that thing out, it's a big year. I know that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But you have to so people can pull out. I
Oh,
mean, I
yeah.
remember with, I don't know when it was, but you
Hey,
know,
Bob.
we had such a
Hi, Beth.
terrible time trying to pull out of even our driveway because you couldn't
Oh,
see.
yeah. Well, the roads get narrow too, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
The lake roads were awful. We had to push those back, and
of course.
yeah, they're small to start with.
Yeah, exactly. I'm amazed you're
Yeah.
able to even to get anything.
I know it. Yeah. Yeah.
And then what do you do with the snow? I mean,
Yeah,
as
you
a, yeah,
keep pushing it up. That's all you can do.
right, right. Now, I heard about somebody in the Boston area that was talking about they were shoveling. And then what they do is they take a shovel and move it over to somebody else's lawn and put it on their lawn.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
wasn't nice.
No.
Hi, Bob.
How you doing, Ellen? Hi,
I'm
Tim.
fine.
Hey,
Hey, how
Bob.
did your friends on the island make out in terms of snow?
Well, last time I tried to contact them, their power was out, so
Oh, what
I don't
now
know.
is
I
this
didn't
Nantucket
try
or
them
the
today.
vineyard? Is it
The
Nantucket or
vineyard,
the
they've got
vineyard?
like a couple feet and they got
Oh, yeah.
winds up to about 95 miles an hour.
Mm,
Wow.
We had
that's
wind.
right.
I clocked the 58 here, but we didn't get very much snow. What'd you think, Tim? Like 6 inches or something, 8 inches?
I don't even know if we got 6, really. I measured it on the pickup and that never moved through the whole storm. And I only came up with about 4, but the wind was blowing like crazy too. So
Yeah.
it may not have been accurate.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
wasn't.
it's hard. Some parts are bald and some parts get drifted. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a long duration and it was
Oh, it
real
was.
cold. It just kept getting colder as it went along. And
Yeah.
that's why the roads didn't burn off like they usually do. But I was happy the sun came out the next day and they weren't bad. Now they're pretty good.
Yeah.
I personally like it when it's colder. It's got better traction. It's easier to deal with. When it gets greasy, it's awful.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Did you
It
find
was
what
much
you found?
easier to deal with in terms of even if you had to shovel, it was light, as I understand it.
It was fluffy. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
But
because it was so cold.
You know, I was looking at the budget today because I did my warrants and we're actually 5,000 over last year.
Really?
And it's because of all the sanding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we've done a ton of sanding, and if it's just the dirt roads, it's not so bad. But when you have to use the saltier stuff on the main roads, that, it gets expensive.
Oh, yeah.
I could see that you put a lot down right in front of my house. So Baker, it's like covered with sand.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, you had to put it down, but it's a lot of material there. I can see that.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah.
Yeah, Thursday night, somebody right up on your end of Baker, somebody had managed to go off into the ditch. Apparently tried to maybe pull over for someone or something, but pulled over because we were going to go up to go, to pick up 202 to head to Boston. And we couldn't because the truck that was coming to get them was in the middle of the road. So it was like, okay, so now we had to, detour around. But yeah, I don't know how long it took him to get, the police weren't there. So, I mean, obviously nobody called the police. And it was one side of the car was in the ditch. So whether they had pulled over too far trying to get away from somebody else that was coming around or who knows, but it was a mess.
Yeah, a lot of times if there isn't property damage or vehicle
Yeah.
damage, they won't, if
No, I know. But in
police-
that case, they should have had somebody because
Right.
they were blocking the road.
Right, right.
You
And
know,
you
in
got
our
something
case,
coming Wednesday.
pardon?
Wednesday is something coming our way.
Is it? Is
Yeah.
it rain though?
Snow and rain mixed, I think.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
thought it was Thursday.
that's what we get a lot is snow and rain.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
the rain is just, I'll tell you, those dirt roads
Oh, yeah.
they've been so slick this year with all the rain.
They look like they're in pretty good shape though, Tim. I think they're pretty solid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're not bad. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have all the bumps and the potholes or the heaves that we usually have. At least it doesn't seem to.
Yeah.
So you've either done a real good job of keeping them tamed or something.
So we're gonna be next year, Florida, or
No,
you won't be
I'm
thinking
not
about snow unless you're up in New Salem.
yeah, I'll be in New Salem. Yeah.
Hi, AJ.
Hey there.
Good to see you.
I think Michael Broad said he
you.
was out of town for this meeting, so
Oh,
I'm not sure we're gonna expect to see him.
Oh, good. We'll try again.
But I don't know about Steve. You got Steve out there working?
No, he said he was going to be here tonight.
that's if he doesn't fall asleep.
Steve said I was ignoring him when he tried to get in.
Oh,
I saw AJ, I saw Bob. Sorry,
here
Here he
comes.
is. Hi,
period.
Steve.
We figured maybe you'd fallen asleep trying to get a nap in because you're exhausted. Now, Bob said that Mike is not going to be here, that he's away. Mike Broad?
Right. Yeah, Mike's not coming. He's in St. John's or something something warm and full of waves and water and sand and
It's interesting how many of our people from Shutesbury are in Florida and currently freezing.
they are, that's not nice.
I know, but it's
That's
true.
funny.
I mean, but I've heard from some of them on different things, and I ask them, what's the weather down there? Because I'm really curious, because I've heard that it's really cold, and yeah, it is really cold. And down there, even though they may have heavy clothes, nobody else does.
Oh,
Hmm.
all right, we're
Okay.
Walter's here now too,
Good.
so we
And
probably.
we're at 6:03. So I call the meeting to order. Oh, here comes Walter. I'll wait till he comes in. Now, the first thing I'm sorry.
The agenda has Tim going first.
Yeah, but first of all, we have to handle the minutes. Yes, you all should have received the minutes, because goodness knows Michael is very good. Oh, who's going to take minutes tonight? With Michael not here.
I can do that.
Thank you.
Thanks, AJ.
Thanks, AJ. I know you're
Yep.
very good at it. Okay, so do we have a motion pertaining to the minutes of last meeting?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes. I didn't have any comments.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, is there any discussion?
I don't remember seeing anything out of order there, but I'm open. to that.
Okay. Well, we'll wait till Steve gets back. Then I'll take a vote. Okay, then if there's no discussion, all those in favor, please say aye. Or raise your
Aye.
hand, make it easy. Okay,
You can't, that's not legal on Zoom.
Oh,
and they
okay, so we have to say
their
aye?
name and do a roll call vote.
oh, we have to do a roll call?
Yeah.
Before
Okay.
before we go on, can I just
Yeah.
ask a question of clarification, see if this is, when Michael wrote down, the new software would move information to the cloud for more effective access.
Mhm.
Estimated total cost it includes annual subscription costs. Okay, so that's accurate, right?
For
Yeah.
for the first
What
year.
we don't have in this note is the cost to the capital for the capital request, because the subscription cost has to be subtracted from the total cost. Is that true?
I think it was about 18,000.
I think so. So
Yeah.
capital cost would be 18,000. Does that
Yeah,
math work?
yeah.
Because that's in the notes.
I think that's
Okay, so
right.
then I
Yep.
vote to approve them too.
Mhm.
That's
I think it
accurate.
was 26 and 8 is the routine, is the every year type thing, as I
Oh,
recall.
2779 is what we said
Okay,
last time.
okay.
anyway.
That was the
Yeah.
point software or the software.
Yeah,
And
But
they're not
we're-
getting soft, right? They're getting
They
Vadar.
want Vadar, and Vadar is
cheaper.
22 minus the maintenance.
okay, but this was what was presented to us last time, so
Oh,
just want to be sure it was accurate in terms of what the minutes should say. I think it is accurate. It said
I think so.
2779 and 18,000 net for capital. But we have to change those numbers, right? Because the contract that they want now is a different contract for Vadar, right?
The 18,000 is correct for Vadar.
That's the net cost for capital.
Yes.
Okay,
The other software was about 6,000 higher.
all right, then I vote to approve these minutes. Bob Grove.
okay. Okay. AJ
I'll vote to approve.
and Steve?
Sullivan, I.
Okay, and I'm an I, so we've got 4 of us. So therefore, very good. Okay, now, Tim was first, am I correct? No, I don't remember who was first on the agenda.
Tim.
Tim. Okay, Tim, I'm gonna turn it over to you to talk to us about a very large truck.
Hmm.
Tim, would you
Okay.
like me to put your notes on screen share?
Sure, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
The
So
nice thing is, Tim, you write so beautifully, we can read it.
my elementary teacher would be proud. So I usually like to say a few words about the old truck, or the truck that we're trying to replace. So it's a 2003 Sterling. There's just over 100,000 miles on it. It is 19 years old. And the reason we're thinking about replacing it is the parts are getting a little harder to find. We've actually had to fabricate some exhaust parts. They haven't actually, Sterling has not made trucks since 2008. So that's been 14 years since they don't make them anymore. So the body is starting to get kind of rusty, which is very typical for a truck that age. I think way back, if memory serves, we had talked about possibly like a 15-year turnaround for trucks, which we never really stick to, and I don't have a problem with that. But when they get to this vintage, they're usually, it's going to cost a lot of money to try to keep them going. To give you an example of the parts issue, we had that truck needed a muffler, which is a very common item. I called the dealer, and the dealer said that's not available. And I said, so you can't even get it? And he said, let me do some checking and I'll get back to you. He got back to me and he said, that's a catalytic muffler. And I couldn't believe what he told me. He told me that he could get it. It was $8,000. And I laughed at him. I says, I must have heard you wrong. I said, you didn't say 8,000, did you? And he said, yeah. I said, that's what it is. Anyway, long story, but we took the old muffler off and we brought it to Jeff Weeks. They put a patch on it and it's still on the truck, but it is going to be an ongoing issue with that truck. So you can see the notes that I have up there. Everything right now is high, as you can see. I started this process about 5 or 6 weeks ago to try to get budgetary figures for this meeting, and we've had to postpone it a couple of times. It's like pulling teeth to get prices out of these guys, and which is very unusual. Usually they'll jump at the chance to sell you a truck. But I had to call people 2 or 3 times to try to get them, to get me a price. So if we start with the one combination that I have is, so the cab and chassis, usually the way we do it is we bid it separate. So for cabin chassis is a fancy way just to say the truck. The bodies are different. They are what they call all-season bodies, so they're kind of special. And we generally, through the years, have bid those separately because most manufacturers don't have access to those kind of bodies. So it's kind of a separate item anyway. And that's the way we've done it. So the truck, the one price that I have here on a Western Star, which is what Steve's truck is, that's the last one we purchased. It's like 180,000 for the truck. And then the body, which includes a plow frame. I'm a firm believer that stainless steel is the way to go now. Steel is cheaper, but it tends to get pretty rotten. And when you have to have somebody go through it, we went through this dump truck that we're trying to replace once, probably 10 years ago, and it was $10,000. So I think the stainless steel, even though it's more money, is well worth the investment. Steve's truck actually is a stainless truck and stainless body, and it's holding up very well. So anyway, so it's stainless steel, includes a plow frame, emergency lights. That's all the flashing lights and strobes and that sort of thing. There's a trailer hitch mounted on the back. There's a plate, and they plumb with air valves and so forth. And everything that's connected with a truck body is included in that. And that price was 140,000. That was for that was through MHQ, which is they have the state bid, and I really wanted to get another price, and I contacted a guy from HP Fairfield, who they're the people that put Steve's body on, and he was going to try to get back to me for tonight's meeting with a price, but he didn't know if he could do it, and he ended up not doing it. So if you take those two prices, you come up with like 320. What is it? 320,000. Yeah. And that's now this is a 10-wheel dump truck, so it would be more expensive. It's a tandem axle. It would be more expensive than a single axle, but that's, that's what the price is. I did get a price on a Mac, which I have no issues with a Mac. I wouldn't mind if we got a Mac. You can see the price there. It's just under 160,000. And what I wanted to do was get a price from this other place, HP Fairfield. Then I could have had an entirely, a truck and a body for another price. But I guess what you could do is take the 100 and might as well call it 160 and add 140, and it comes up 20,000 less than ATG's price. But that's where we're at. I do expect that I will get a price from HP Fairfield within a day or two. So I did reach out to, as you can see, this Tri-State Kenworth. I got nothing from them at all. I reached out to Peterbilt, which, granted, those are usually pretty. It's kind of like the Cadillac of trucks, but you never know. Leverett has a Kenworth, and Leverett actually has a Peterbilt that's almost ready for delivery. So it kind of depends on how bad these people want to get into the municipal market. If they want to get in bad enough, they'll sharpen their pencils and they'll be competitive. But at this point, it looks like our two choices right now would be between the Western Star and the Mac. Other than that, if there's any questions, I'm sure there are.
Hey, Tim,
Yes. Yeah.
just wanted to ask you, you mentioned that you had difficulty with getting parts for the Sterling, and
Yeah.
that the muffler was something you had to patch up with Jeff Weeks.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, and you also said that there's some rust on the cab, or is that
No, on the truck body.
on the truck body? So I was
Yeah.
gonna ask you about the truck body, which is a separate item. Is the frame of the truck sound, or is it?
It's pretty good. If I see where you're going. I mean, if it was sandblasted and painted, if you're going to pull the body off it and put another body on there, I guess that's a possibility.
The reason I ask is, as you pointed out, as you know, and I've found out the same thing myself this year, that it's very difficult to buy stuff this year in a competitive market because there's so many supply chain issues out there. As you said, you can't even get people to answer your calls. Never mind giving
Yeah.
you. And so I don't know if the truck is in any danger of failure or anything, but if just, and this is a practical question, if you bought a body for it, could you keep that body on another tractor later? I mean, is that a big deal to put the body on the chassis?
I don't have any figures on what that might cost. I mean, we did do that in the past. We had a Mac. I think it was like an 87 Mac, and the body was really bad on that one. And we did take that off, and we actually put the new body on it, and it stayed pretty good for a few years, and then the frame rails got kind of rotten, and that ends up being a much bigger job when you start replacing frames and frame rails and stuff. That's
The chassis itself.
that would be the chassis, yeah, the truck itself.
I'm just curious if the frame seems to be sound.
I think right now it's pretty good.
And what about the motor?
The motor's good. It's got, it's a Caterpillar motor. It's like I said, it's just a little over 100,000 miles on it. No major issues that I know of with it. It's always been a good truck. But the body is getting, it's either time to go through it again. And the last time we went through it, it was $10,000, and I would imagine you could probably add, another 5 to that if that's the way you want to go, and they have to sandblast it all and repaint it and so forth.
Right. That's what you did before to this body.
Yeah, we did.
You sandblasted it, painted it, welded it up, or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of patches on it, so it's getting, if we were going to try to save the truck, probably a new body would be the way to go.
Yep. Oh, thanks.
Now, Tim, first of all, I don't recall, I know you told us how old the truck is.
That's a 2003.
Okay,
Yep.
so that's basically almost 20 years.
Yeah, it's 19. Yeah.
Yeah, so just if you were to put a new body on the chassis, I mean, from what you've said, it's not going to last us 20 more years.
I wouldn't think so. Sterling has been out of business since 2008, and
There's a problem.
that would be my worry, that a lot of these parts just would not be available.
Yeah.
I have no way of knowing when they'll be obsolete, but I know we've already had some trouble. Exhaust parts are almost impossible to come by. We've had to, fabricate certain parts for that, but that's not the end of the world. But when you have a transmission or a rear end that's gone, and if it's specific to Sterling and you need parts, I'm not quite sure where you'd get them. So,
Okay, any other questions for Tim? AJ,
yeah,
Tim, I'm wondering what would we do with the old Sterling truck if we replaced it, and does it have any value, an auction or something that might offset some of the cost of a new truck?
I would think a truck like that would be desirable.
I mean, would that be your vision for like what we would be doing, or is there some
Yeah,
reason to, yeah.
there's a couple ways you can go. We can have our own auction. We can advertise it and put it out to the public and see where the bids go. You sometimes you can trade it in to the dealership,
Mhm.
and usually, even with a vehicle like a car or a pickup truck or something, it's generally better to try to sell it outright
Yeah.
rather than trade it. They don't really give you much for
Yeah,
trade-ins.
they don't.
If it's honestly, to be honest with you, if it's a real piece of junk and they're willing to give you, a few thousand for it, then maybe that's the way to go. But if
Right.
it's a good truck, that's got, a few normal problems, I mean, maybe just having your own auction. I wouldn't have a clue what a truck
Yeah.
like that would be worth right now. I could find out, I'm sure. It wouldn't be too difficult, but
It might be a useful piece of information just to have a
yeah,
rough idea of what.
I can look into that. I'm
Okay.
sure there's either information online or
Yeah.
there's enough people I could get a hold of, and they could do that for me. That's I can do that. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anything else? No? Becky, do you have anything?
No, I'm afraid I don't.
What do you mean you're afraid you don't?
Yeah, this is kind of daunting. The increase in price just keeps happening.
I
Well.
was really surprised when I saw the price. I think Bob's right. It's a supply chain issue, and it's a help issue. Everybody's looking for help, and these truck dealers. And then I know I heard from the Peterbilt guy that they'll have a whole lot of trucks sitting there and they don't have the microchips to to put in them, and they can't sell them, and so it's an interesting time.
There is.
It's a
Yeah.
mess.
Yeah.
Bob?
Tim,
Okay.
just a question here now. If you had to run that truck next winter, assuming that, I think that if the major components, the engine, the tranny and the rear end are they reasonable, good shape, and we couldn't guarantee anything, but would you be confident you could use this vehicle next winter, given what you know about it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the biggest issue with the truck is the body. That's it's been patched a lot of times. I think the components of the body would keep going. We've kept them up pretty well. The chain that delivers the sand to the spinner and all that. It's everything's working pretty well. It's not ready to fall off the truck. So, I mean, if it had to go another winter, it would actually. When in talking with a lot of these guys, they're thinking that even if we ordered the truck right after town meeting, that they probably would not be able to have it until 2023 anyway.
Yep.
So chances are it's going to have to go through another winter regardless.
Right. Yeah, that's
Okay.
and then next year might be a better competitive situation for the town too.
Yeah, could be.
But that takes us into 24 then before we get the vehicle. Okay, another question though. You had indicated that now I don't know the terms, the dump part of it
Yep. the body, yep,
you're going to get from, you looked at MHQ. Did you look at MHQ for the chat, for the other part?
yep. Not
Or
for
maybe
the,
they don't have it.
not, well, they probably, I think they do. I know years ago, I looked into the Greater Boston Police Council and
Mhm.
you could get trucks and you get anything you want, really. What I found though was that it was cheaper for us to go out to bid than it was to take the state bid, which
Mhm.
kind of surprised me, but
Oh,
I would assume it's probably still that way, but I don't know that. That's why I was really hoping to get a price from this other outfit on the body. That would tell a lot.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you. I was just curious
sure. Yep.
because I didn't know, maybe they didn't have them. Who knows? I mean, I don't know
I'm-
anything about trucks and the
Yeah,
state bid.
I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do. I just didn't bother because I thought
Right.
it was a much better. I mean, that's easy to do too. We could
Yeah, oh yeah.
with them
So
and
go online and find that. That's
Yeah.
easy.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, anything else? Okay, Tim, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you all.
Now you can go and have supper.
I think I will. Take care.
Good, yeah, you too.
Bye-bye.
Now, Walter, who hasn't had supper yet, I'm sure either.
Oh, it's too early for supper.
Okay. You are interested in replacing your secondhand vehicle that you've been running for all these years.
Yes. Yeah. It's to the point, I was hoping we could go another year with it or so, but it is to the point right now that it seems like every time I look at it, there is more and more severe rust. Back when I had it in late September to get it inspected, I had to do some sheet metal patching just to get it to pass inspection. I opened the rear passenger door one day and the whole rocker panel fell out onto the driveway. I was like, wow, that's kind of interesting. So I had to do some, quite a bit of patching for that.
Yeah, that's
And since I filed this paperwork and I went to take some pictures the other day, just
Mhm.
to give you a better idea of
Yeah.
what it's like, I found a whole nother section of the front rocker panel underneath the driver's door there's a big section that's gone and it's starting to rust out all over the place in different places.
Yeah.
It does have a noise creating, it's been getting worse in the front end. Believe it's either a CV joint or a wheel bearing, which can be replaced. There's also some problems with the transmission, whereas when you put it in reverse, as long as you're gentle with it, it'll back up. But if you put it in reverse and give it any kind of gas, it slips and it won't back up. And now just the other day, the what's called the RSC, which took me a while to figure out what that was. It's the roll stability control system. It's got warning lights all over the place on it now. And as you're driving down the road, it's beeping at me saying it needs to be serviced right away. I do know what that entails. That could be anything from a sensor on the ABS to, the whole ABS control or control module, and wouldn't know unless we had it inspected. And, brought it into a shop to see what it would cost to get that fixed. So, the question is, if we want to keep it, how much money do we want to put into a 12-year-old vehicle that will not pass inspection next time for numerous reasons, or, look at getting something else?
Yeah, I think it's amazing it's gone as long as it has, frankly.
I've been trying to baby it through, and seems like, and just the other day I think it was last Monday, I went to start it to come into work and it wouldn't start. The battery had died on it over the weekend. So I did have to replace the battery so we could keep using it, but it's gotten to the point of, how much money do we want to put into it to keep it running right now?
Right. Now you're looking at a state bid contract. So is that MHQ?
No, that
No.
Marcotte Ford.
Oh, Market, okay, that's local, that's
Yeah,
convenient.
when we did the rescue 2 years ago, bought the new chassis
Mhm.
in rescue and did the body swap, we did it all through Marcotte Ford on
Mhm.
bid, and they were wonderful to work with, looking out for us all the way through the whole process, even helping with the lining up the body swap, because they had a facility, a company that had partnered with them and moved
Mhm.
one of their buildings on their Hoyle campus there, and they're known up and down the East Coast, and pretty supposedly pretty good. But the person that they hired from down Virginia to come up and open up this shop, he had a little bit of disagreement with the upper management, and they ended up firing him, and they used to replace him, a sales manager and a person that comes from the car audio installation world, and put them in to do emergency vehicles wiring and upgrades and lighting and all that. And he Richard over at Marcotte said, I don't want you to use them because that's what we had set up, but these guys are just having problems left and right. So we lined up another company called Springfield Auto and Truck, who did a wonderful job, and is doing a lot more work for Marcotte. So basically on the price on the state bid,
Mhm.
that he was a little unsure of is the bids were changing sometime here in January. He wasn't sure exactly what the price would be because they were in the process of redoing the state bid. But he felt very confident that for the price of $50,000 that we could purchase the vehicle and leave $3,000 to $5,000 allotment for lighting and radio installation. So for a total
Okay,
of
yeah,
50,000.
for a total of 50,000.
Yep.
Okay,
And if we reuse some of the lighting from this car,
yeah,
and if we, for the guy I use for radio installation, he also does a lot of lighting installation and all that. He's even less expensive. Sometimes I think he loses money when he does work for us. So yeah, he's very, very qualified and does a great job. So, we could even save a little bit more there.
now do you have to install a radio in it, or doesn't your car
Yeah,
have a
we take the radios out of the old car
Okay,
that I have now and reinstall them. And that's the guy I have, Mark, from
yeah,
the company is called Communication Installation Services. He would do the work. He's done all our work for us for the last several years, and a lot of the work he's the one that installed all the new 800 radios in all the fire vehicles and the police vehicles.
yeah, he must be good then.
Oh, he's very good, very sought after. He's overworked, underpaid.
Okay, any questions for Walter? Bob?
Hey, Walter.
Yeah.
Just a couple questions. One, I'm a little concerned that, this vehicle was a leftover cop car, right?
Yep.
Mhm.
And now we're going into a new vehicle, which is during the same year when you're retiring, we're getting a new fire chief, presumably.
Yeah.
So, I just see a lot of moving parts here, and I'm wondering what you think. Is there another vehicle that the chief could use next year, like one of the smaller trucks, the pickup, or I'm trying to think in terms of what the requirements are for the department, the minimum requirements, short of getting a new SUV.
You're talking the Army, the 84 Army surplus vehicle out in the back of the station?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying, was there another vehicle that could be driven to a fire, the new truck, say, or the new crew cab truck or something?
The crew cab truck is a rescue. That's not for
Yeah.
That's our rescue unit that goes out on all our medical calls. It's not for somebody to drive around as their personal vehicle. It's not designed for that. It's got the body, it's got the rescue body and all that on it. We took the chassis and made that into a new brush truck. The Shutesbury Firefighters Association bought the aluminum flatbed and all the toolboxes and had that redone. And we spent several $1,000s on that to bring that up to a newer brush truck. And the old brush truck, the 84 military surplus pickup, is what is out back that we use for Mark uses it for going to inspections. We use it for storm response calls. I used that the other day to take the batteries down to Interstate Batteries to get new batteries for the car and bring some old batteries back from one of the other trucks. So, I mean, that's what we use it for, but I don't know how well it would work out. There's really no storage in it. It's the cab itself, and there's no storage of equipment or anything in there.
I guess what I'm driving at, Walter, is that this seems like a change to get a new vehicle for the fire department. When in the past,
We've always taken the hand-me-downs from the
Mhm.
vehicle that always had a life that's been beat up on it pretty well. The thing is, the car that's coming out of the police department now is the sedan. And I really don't think that's an adequate vehicle for emergency response for the fire chief in winter weather and all kinds of storms that we do. And we need to be able to get out into here. And that car, even though it's an all-wheel drive, it doesn't have the ground clearance, in my opinion. And I know the last time this came up, when this car was turned over to me, and it was asked then, because the next car that was supposed to come out was supposed to be the Ford LTD, the Crown Vic, and it was asked if that would be an adequate car for the fire chief. I said, well, we've had them before, but honestly, they're terrible in the wintertime. And if for what I had been carrying at the time for equipment and all that in the vehicle, it wouldn't have been adequate. And the comment was made at that time from the finance committee, well, maybe it's time next time that we start looking at possibly buying a new car for the chief. I'll tell you what, it's not going to benefit me at all. I'm going to be gone. I'm just looking at, the future of the department and keeping things going here. We don't have a vehicle here that would be an appropriate vehicle. And I don't feel that the sedan is an appropriate vehicle that's being turned in for the use of it either. But that's just my opinion.
And furthermore, this one would last 12 to 15 years. God knows how long. If you were to get another secondhand, it would last.
Yeah, I mean, it's up to however it was taken care of before.
Right.
And all that, and what the usable life is on it then. I mean, I've had them anywhere from this one that's lasted quite a while to had some of the old Crown Vics where you're driving down the road responding to a call in the gas, a lot of it. So
yeah, something fell out. I remember that. That was a
yeah, the
horror.
gas tank, the
Yeah,
gasoline.
okay, I just remembered something fell.
Yeah.
Any other questions? No. Okay. If there aren't any other questions, then thank you, Walter. You can go get supper now.
Well, I still got 20 minutes here, so. you.
Okay.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Walter.
Walter.
Thanks, Walter.
Thank you.
Okay, so that completes what we had to do today. Now, what do we still have? We still have to hear from the school.
Well, I'm not sure Steve could clarify. Steve
Oh.
did send over. Let me see if I can pull it up.
Oh, yes.
The school, we're not asking for anything immediate, but we're asking for lots of stuff. Like the rest of the roof, the painting and the replacement of the siding, because the school looks like crap, the parking lot that's way beyond repair, and the heating thing, which is in process, the gym roof, which is in process. Then the phone system's gonna be needed to be updated.
Just did that.
Not
Didn't
the
we
phone-
just do the phone system?
No, that
No.
phone,
15
okay.
years ago.
yeah,
Okay.
that's
How's
that's
this
the last
yesterday?
of its kind in the state as far as phone systems go. It's a good thing when you have the only floor in the state that looks like it, but when it's the phone system, it's not so good.
No.
Steve, building committee looked at the school building the other day, and you weren't able to make it, but we looked at the siding and the other issues, and we took some pictures of it. And it seemed to us that, yeah, we got to address this roof. That's the priority, number one, because that's one of the most important components of the building. And it's critical that that roof get replaced. And also, that if you did painting now before the roofers got there, you're asking to get the paint job damaged by the roofers. So we need to plan on the carpentry work and painting right now to do it after the roof is complete. That's my opinion. It certainly definitely needs it. There's some corner boards and some other sort of weather boards that are need to be replaced before the painting happens. Then the paint job needs to be done. But I think it should happen after the roof. The other thing is there's some drainage issues there. And we're going to study this and make some recommendations because the school is quite low to the ground. Unfortunately, this is also true of the town hall. It's a big time problem that architects and builders often run into. Number one, setting the building too low to the ground in the first place so that proper site drainage is not practical or possible. Number two, over the years, there's an accretion of soil around a building because of various people planting things around it and leaves falling and grass growing and turf building. Soil tends to go up and the building, if anything, goes down. I'm not suggesting this building has gone down, but certainly the soil is too close to the sills of this building. And there's negative drainage in a lot of locations, like particularly if you think about the back door where the bicycle rack is, there's a huge puddle of water there. It's about, I would say 2.5, 3 inches from the sill. And it's just standing water, which is really not great. So I think we got to look at that drainage issue too while the school is being fixed up. I think that drainage is another sort of primary issue that has to be ameliorated to make the school building last better, stay healthier. And also the gutters have never been cleaned, at least not in the last several years. So part of the issue there with the gutters, Becky can tell you, she was there. The gutters need to be replaced, but then they need to be maintained on a regular basis by somebody either who an employee of the school or somebody else. But we got to definitely put that into the routine for the building to keep those things flowing and to keep the building in good shape. So yeah, you're right. We confirmed a lot of things that you're suggesting about the building, but I think we should do these things in a timely way. We should do the research on what we're going to do, line up the particulars, the kind of scope of the work, and then try to schedule it after the roof is done. Do you think of that?
Yeah, that's what we talked about that at our last school committee meeting, but we also want to make it clear to the buildings committee, capital planning, and the finance that, that if the roof is 5 years, 6 years out to be completed, then that school is going to continue to look like not a very nice site to people that come to the school. And so we're just concerned that it's going to be put out to pasture for a long time, but we understand that the roof should be done first.
Yeah, well, Steve, I think we all know now that this roof has got to be done. And I think it should be done this year personally. And I think we should be putting a capital request for engineering for the back roof right now for this town meeting or sooner.
That wouldn't be.
So I think we talked about this at our last building committee meeting, and I'd like to get the school to get on board with making a request to get some engineering for that back roof. So that if we don't get state money, we can just proceed because it's just ridiculous. We got to go forward. And the state shut us, state rejected our last application. I think Becky has submitted another application, but if the past is prologue to the present and future, I think we can reasonably expect that we won't get the money this year either. So let's just do it.
Becky, thank you for putting that up. I could not get it to come down into my machine so I could print it out.
I couldn't either.
Thank you. Oh, it wasn't just me then. I thought it was just me.
No, they wouldn't give me access. Google would somehow. I don't know why.
Well, I just couldn't get it. It came down, but then I couldn't get it to come on the screen so I could print it out. Okay.
I guess they have a few things they would like to do.
Yes, rather, and very expensive things too. So this is something we have
Well, at
to,
least a lot of these things have been done.
oh yeah, no, these have,
Most of these
sure.
have been done.
Yeah, this is a list of what's been done, but when you look up above at the things that haven't been done, it's and need to be done, it's, you know, that of the roof is going to be quite expensive, for example. Wow.
Well, I think we're gonna, just speaking as a member of the building committee, we're gonna come up with a list. We're gonna try to start by putting a list together based on this and on everything else we've heard, and try to come up with a timeline for, and a priorities, you know, sort of rate things for priorities and the proper sequencing of some of this work, because, you know, you don't want to do something and then rip it up when you do the next thing, you know.
Oh, I agree entirely. So what is your time, what is your thought about when you're going to have this timeline done?
Well, we're going to meet, hopefully we're going to meet this week. We're going to try to get a slot for Zoom and meet, and hopefully we can get a quorum to meet the building committee. And I've got my notes from we did a tour of some of the town buildings, the town hall, the old town hall, the Hearst House. We didn't get to the fire station or the highway because we want to meet when the people are using them, so we can look at those buildings. But we want to look at all the buildings in town and then just provide some kind of sense of what needs to be done, what shape of the building is, what's needed, and what a sort of rough time frame for work needed should be in the future, so that the town has a better handle on that. But as far as the school goes, I think it's urgent that we get money for engineering in this year's budget, personally. So I don't know who initiates that, if the school initiates that, the school committee initiates that, the building committee initiates that. Please help me understand that, Becky.
We can just initiate it. Let's
Yeah, well, then let's do it.
say $100,000 for engineering for the rest of the roof, and then we can try to back it up with some bids. And,
Okay, all right, so
it-
let's get, let's get busy on that, so we can come up with a number. And I think that, what was the
well, to get
engineering
busy
cost
on
for
it,
the,
Bob, we have to put it out to bid. I mean,
Right.
other than a rough estimate, and so we'll start with the rough estimate, and then I'll have to get a bid out.
of course we need a bid, but we need a bid to ask for money?
Well, we need to know how much they ask for.
Right, so I'm just asking, what did the engineering cost for the gym roof?
It came out in total just about 30,000.
Right, so if we doubled that, I think we'd be well covered, and obviously any money left over, if when we get bids, could go back into the actual roof project, could it not? Couldn't we?
It could, but
yeah.
we put a bid out to come up with
Right.
that number, and I think we should do the same.
Yeah, we have to do the same. That's the only way to justify it. I mean, we make everybody else who comes to ask for a money for a bid, or bids. So we have to do that for this.
Okay, well, all right, I'll get on that. Yeah, so
I'll
because I
take
want to
care
be
of
sure,
it.
I don't know whether we
Whoa,
could,
whoa, whoa,
Bob?
Bob, please. Becky was saying
I'll
something.
take care of the bid. It has to follow a number of procedures. It's not your basic, once it's over 50,000, you can't just make 3 phone calls. So I'll take care of the bid.
all right, I just
Okay.
want to emphasize once again that we have to do this
Mhm.
ASAP. This has gone on
She
way
knows
too
that.
long. Okay,
Okay, so when are we looking at at another meeting? Do we want to wait until we hear from the school, the bids on the school?
Okay, so the other department's still out there. Let's try to do maybe a meeting in February, the middle of February.
Okay, we have a library. Yeah, the library is, well, by then they would know, wouldn't they?
Right, they might not need a meeting.
Yeah, right.
And who else do we have to hear from? Anybody?
That's it, I think.
school.
The school.
Or the school?
Well, is
Steve,
what
explain.
but go ahead.
Steve, you want to explain it again?
Yeah,
No.
the
Yeah.
school is not asking for any direct
Oh,
requests, except we're asking for everything.
Yeah, right, but we're looking at the idea of having the bid for the engineering available to discuss too. Although whether that, I don't even know whether that kind of thing has to come before capital planning. I really don't.
It certainly seems to me.
Well, not necessarily.
It's consulting work. It's
Yeah, it's
part of
consulting
a
work.
capital plan, so it's,
Yeah, it's part of a capital plan. It's part of doing the
Okay,
roof.
we can do it. But that's why I was wondering if we could get whatever time we set up and try to get the bids in for the roof, for that engineering too, so we can consult with that and the library if necessary.
Well, question here, procedural question, Becky. If the capital planning is initiating this request, we don't need the school to make a pitch for it, right?
I think they have made.
Yeah, they have made a pitch.
I mean, I'm just saying, do we need the school at a meeting? That's my question.
I
No,
think we
Steve's
could-
here.
Yeah, Steve is here. I think we could vote to support, yeah, you guys could vote to support engineering for the school.
Sure. But I think
But
we need to
I'm
know
just
how
trying to-
much.
Wonder whether we need to have the school come before us to do that.
No, it's good. Steve's here.
So we don't need to have a meeting with the school.
Correct.
Yeah.
But we do need a bid and we need a dollar.
All
amount.
right, so
Yeah. But we also may need to have the library come depending on what happens with their grant. And that should be that opinion should be coming out shortly, shouldn't it? I thought it was coming out in January.
better hurry up.
No, there's not till middle of February or something.
Oh, okay.
Well, so do you want to plan a meeting, Ellen?
Well, in order for me to plan a meeting, I'm gonna have to go and get my date book. So if you don't mind, I will take off and go and get my date book.
AJ, you were trying to say something earlier.
Well, I just, I think, kind of Bob addressed it. So I guess I'm just wondering in terms of process, it sounds like, Steve, you can just update the school committee and let them know that, I mean, I'm sure they would be happy to hear that we're trying to push forward with engineering, but yeah, we should probably make them aware of this. Yeah.
Yeah. Biscuit. Ay. Okay. Here I am again, but now it's gonna take me a minute to get my phone there. Okay, we're looking at February. Oh, God, I got junk in here. Get out. Okay. Well, tomorrow starts February, so when do we want it?
So I guess I have also another clarification. So this would be the meeting where we as a committee vote on the various requests that have been submitted? Or is this an additional meeting?
I think this one may be an additional meeting, depending on whether we have, the business with the school and
Right.
whether we need the library. But we could vote on them. I mean, just take us a little, extend the meeting a little bit.
Well, wouldn't it be reasonable to schedule a meeting? And because it seems like we always change our meetings anyway, we might as well start with one date and then we'll know where to start.
How about March 1st?
Is that too late out? Or you think you want to do
That's
that?
a Tuesday night. Is that good for you all, or is that finance or select board?
Oh, it'll be one of those. Oh,
Yeah,
it's select board that night. Could we
About
do?
28th of
Wednesday?
February.
28th.
no, I have a meeting.
The 2nd of, no, I'm in the wrong month. The 2nd of March? It's a Wednesday.
Yeah,
Ash Wednesday.
that looks like
Fine.
okay with me.
I'm okay with that.
Me too.
Okay, and the 28th works for me too.
Wait a minute, let me get this in here, please.
I thought Ellen said that was not good.
You did.
Is
Oh,
that the Monday?
right.
Yeah, it's not
So
good.
Wednesday, the
Tuesday.
2nd of March.
It's a Wednesday.
Yeah, wait a minute. Yeah. Okay, I've got capital planning on, okay, what time is it going to be on the 2nd? So we don't have a little discussion again.
6 o'clock, 5:30, I don't care.
Everyone,
5:30.
There.
5:30 is better for me.
5:30, okay with everyone?
Yep.
As long as it doesn't snow, right, Steve? Okay, that's it. What
All right.
date were you all saying? Somebody said something about some other day.
No, it's March
2nd.
2nd. The other day was when you have a meeting.
Yeah, I have a meeting on the, you meant the 28th, yeah. Okay,
Okay, good.
March 2nd. And by
Great.
then we'll, huh?
Great.
Great. Okay, so we need to get it posted and then we are all set and hopefully we will have some information from the school or from Becky.
Yeah, or
concerning
from the,
school.
I'm not sure if it'll, might not have the bids back yet, but we'll have a better estimate.
Yeah, that's good. That's all we can hope. And hopefully we can pray hard that the library will get the grant and then we don't have to worry about that one. And won't that be nice? Or maybe not, because that gives us more work to do. But anyway, anything else?
Nope.
Okay. Gentlemen, have a great day.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call
Okay.
vote.
Roll call vote. Bob,
Groves, aye.
AJ?
Cashew, eye.
Yeah, Steve.
Sullivan, I.
Ellen, I. Okay, we're all set.
Thanks a
Okay,
lot.
Okay.
and have a good night,
everybody.
all.
Thank you.
Good night.
Yes, and thank you all for coming. And will you let yeah, our other member know. I'm
Right,
sorry.
yes, I will.
Mike, phew, the mind just went, ew. Okay, good enough.
All right.
Good night.
Becky,
Take
we'll
care.
see you tomorrow morning.
Sounds good. Bye.
Bye-bye.